And we are recording. And hello. This is the Central Florida Computer Society and our Digital Photo and Video Special Interest Group, or SIG. We've been on hiatus, so that's probably why we don't have a lot of people here. People kind of forgot about us and didn't put us on the priority list. We've been gone since about March or April of last year. Just too many things going on, and it does take some time to prepare this. And I just, rather than not do it right, I decided not to do it. But we're back. Hopefully we'll do it the third Wednesday of every month. Coming up with topics is not the easiest thing, so by all means, getting some ideas to me, or if you want to present, you're welcome to. We'd love to have you. Tonight we've got a fairly aggressive list for our agenda. I've been working on it for a few days now, putting it all together and gathering the stuff over the last couple of months. And let's hope you get something out of it. It's on several levels. And let's get started. First, a couple of things. You don't have microphone access. If you would, if you need to make any comments or anything, go into the chat box. Use the chat box in the lower. Actually, it's the lower right to ask a question, and I'll monitor the questions and take care of them. Actually, this was from an old VTC, and when I was in charge of it, as opposed to presenting. So I'll keep an eye on the questions and comments. Please understand that this is all, this is all new technology, and we never know what's going to happen. And I'm always looking for people to speak at the meetings. And if you know anything, or if you take pictures, you're perfect to present. If you would, I think most of you I know, but just in case somebody else joins, I will remind them later. If you'd put your first and last name, your city and state, and your user group if you're a member, in the chat box. Phil, yeah, I do have a PowerPoint, and I'm going to do some a live presentation as well, live demo. Okay. Newsletters and videos. The Digital Photo SIG, we've got them. There's a link there where you can find the February newsletter if you didn't receive it. And if you want to be on the mailing list, so each month there's the email address for it. And then links to all of the SIG videos are in the newsletter, so I didn't list them all here. So you'll be able to go there and pick them up. Okay, let's get started with tonight's agenda. This is called the narrative clip. I haven't purchased one. I don't know whether I will or not, but it intrigues me. It was a Kickstarter program about 2 years ago. If you're not familiar with the Kickstarter program is, that's where someone who has a great next idea decides that they want to raise money for it. They put it out in this Kickstarter program and ask people for donations, and they have a set amount. They have a plan and a set amount for them to reach, kind of like the Shark Tank, but the sharks just invest a very small amount of money. And at different prices, you're guaranteed to get the product. And then as the development goes on, less and less chance of a product for the price, or the price goes up. But they raise enough money to complete the development of the product and bring it to market. This was originally called the Memento, M-E-M-T-O, Memento, and it's now called the narrative clip. You can see the size of it. It's about the size of a Triscuit, square in size. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. I just wanted the 4 pictures at the top show how you can wear it. The 4 pictures at the bottom are actual photos from the from somebody's narrative clip. The first one is somebody in it looks like a subway station or a bus station. Next one is some equipment they were looking at, probably, and it looks like a fire alarm box and a map of where the subway goes. The next one is in a laundromat, and the last one is out on the street. The narrative clip is a tiny automatic camera and application, because the application is a very important part of this, and it does come with it. And it gives you searchable and shareable photographic memory. The storage capacity is between 3,800 and 4,000 pictures, and has a battery life for about 2 days. You then plug it into your computer, and that's when you transfer all your images and also recharge the batteries. The reason I was talking about this and not having one, I'm a little concerned how people are going to perceive this if you're wearing one. This person came up with what they're calling an elevator pitch. When somebody says, "What's that?" you're going to scare people when you tell them what it actually is. So what she came up with is it's called a narrative clip, and it takes a photo automatically every 30 seconds. Those photos are only visible to me. They don't get broadcast anywhere. It lets me capture neat things like a beautiful sunset the other night. If it makes you uncomfortable, please let me know, and I'll be happy to take it off. And that's the elevator pitch. And they're kind of trying to put together a list of different ones that people are using. Oh, Phil, you don't have any sound. Is there anyone else having trouble hearing me? If you can't hear me, raise your hand. No, let's see, that won't work either. If you would, in the chat box, just say you can hear. Earlier, Francis said he was hearing me because he noted that he was. Okay, Judy can hear me. Let's see, Judy's typing now. She hears me. Norm hears me. Phil, you might want to go out and come back in if you can't hear me. Or double check that your speakers are on or headset. If you were hearing the music, you should be able to hear me now. So, well, see. He can't hear me when I'm saying that. Okay. The narrative isn't to augment reality in real time, but it's to innocently log a photographic diary. It's called logging, key logging. It comes in white, black, or orange. And there's also an accelerometer inside of it which senses which way is up. So your photos, no matter how it's clipped to you, your photos are always going to be right side up. And at any time, if you want to just tap it, it will take another photo at that particular time. So if you don't want to wait for the 30 seconds, you can just, if you say, oh, there's something in front of me and I want to get a picture, be sure to get a picture of that, just tap it and it will do it. And I got a kick out of this. In the one article, it says, if guys in the restaurant's men's room knew about it, you might be in trouble. So that's the thing about the wearable camera. You have to remember when to take it off. And one thing about this item is if you take it off and put it face down, it's a soft shut off. If you put it in your pocket, it will actually shut right off. When there's no light, it shuts off. And then when you take it out, it's instantly on again. So if you are going into a restroom or you're going into a particular place where you don't want to have pictures taken, just take it off, stick it in your pocket or in your purse, or carry a little pouch to put it in, and it will shut off. There's no on and off switch. Interesting. This was an article from Huffington Post. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but just think in terms of a person who is wearing one. There'll be photos of eating cereal, getting crushed on the subway, cutting their fingernails, checking the iPhone. The person that wrote the article photographed themselves 523 times while writing the story. What some of these people are doing is they're doing selfies. They'll take the narrative off and put it somewhere where it's pointing to them, and then let it take the pictures every 30 seconds. It's a great way to find out what kind of habits you're in. Are you touching your nose, frowning quite a bit? Do you have some kind of idiosyncrasy that other people see that you never knew you did? That might be a way to do it by setting up the camera. And what some of the people are doing, especially that are testing it and have purchased them, if they're in an office, you know, they don't want to take pictures of their screen all day or their desktop, so they have it so it's taking pictures of them and what they're doing. So that would be interesting. It might be interesting for a few days, or it might be interesting, you know, for a long time. I don't know. It might be one of those toys. You try it for a couple of days and put it on the shelf. John, I'm going to go into that in just a moment. Good. Everything's okay, Phil. Glad you're back. Let's see. I thought I had it in one of these. I guess maybe I didn't get that into one of the slides, but the narrative is, it uses the pictures are 5 megapixel, so they're fairly large. They take pictures every 30 seconds, so you get about 2 a minute, or almost 4,000 a day. It costs $279. And for the first year, and that includes the software that comes with it. That software you can takes care of organizing and uploading your photos. It organizes them in a time frame so you see them one after the other, or you can, it actually, what I understand, it will also pick up what it feels are some highlighted ones or highlights, and so there'll be some places where you can see ones that come out the best. As I said, it's $279 to purchase it, but and you don't upload to your own website or anywhere else. You upload to one of their servers, and after the first year there will be a yearly fee of $108 to store your photos, but there's no limit to the number of photos that you can store. So that's the narrative. I wonder how you would feel, or how others would feel if I was wearing one, or if you were wearing one, how the people around you would feel. Something to consider, because and this is how I got into the topics for tonight, and I started thinking about privacy, and what are the ways in which we've got to think about privacy in a way we've never thought about it before. And one of the ways is the fact that people carry cameras all the time now in their phones, or just small digital cameras. And what do we do to protect ourselves? Or what do we do to protect ourselves from people who object to having their pictures taken? So that's just some of the things we're going to talk about. So privacy, your privacy, my privacy, and of course theirs. That means anybody else that you're taking pictures of. I go to a lot of conferences and meetings, and I take a lot of pictures. I always have, and I always probably will. And a lot of times I post them up on Flickr, I put them on Facebook. I'll do something with them. And I can remember not too many years ago that we had a member in our user group that absolutely went bananas if one of his pictures showed up anywhere, either on at that time it was a website, or in our newsletter, or was posted anywhere. And this was before the days of Facebook. But he absolutely did not want his picture. And there are people like that for whatever reason. And then there are certain places where you take pictures that someone may not want others to know that they were there. So you've got to be very careful. And so to ensure your photo privacy online, you've got to take a few basic steps. Number one is if you don't want pictures of you that you've taken or have been taken with your camera, don't put them online. Or if they're pictures of your family or friends, stay away from putting them online. Just don't do it. When you do put them online, read the fine print of where you're placing them. What happens to them? Who has access to them? Who potentially could get access to them? You might want to check and see, is there a way to keep them private? Keep them only for certain people, your friends, or a list of people who you allow it to. But you need to be very careful of where you're posting them. If you're dealing with a website, you want to make sure that you have permission to post them on your website. If you are on Facebook, be careful what you post. Be careful what's in the picture that you post. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we work through this evening, through this meeting. Develop proper tagging etiquette. Tag where you feel that it's necessary, but don't put people's names if you think that they might object to it. Francis says lots of folks don't want their photos on a user group's website, so he ends up doing some fancy cropping or leaving them out of the published photos. And he also said it would have been fun when he was teaching computer classes, but he would have violated the organization's written policies about having one of those narratives. So that's something you got to be careful of too. Strip the metadata from any photo that you take that you post online. Every photo from your camera, and there are some of the main programs out there, either viewing programs or editing programs. You can go in and look at the metadata, and a lot of times tell you what camera it was taken from. And a lot of the cameras now, and especially your phones, using the camera in your phones, most of them have GPSs in them, and they mark where that picture was taken, and that is in the metadata. So you need to be careful. One thing, though, the pictures that get uploaded to Facebook, they do strip out the metadata. So if someone downloads a picture from Facebook that you took, the metadata isn't there, which is good. But that's not true if you go out to Flickr or some of the other places where photos get posted. They can determine where the pictures were taken, when they were taken, with what camera, and sometimes even by whom. And then also remember your audience. If you're posting the picture, who's going to be looking at it? Protect the people that are in the picture. Don't post something somewhere where it might be objectionable to them to have it posted there. One of the other things, well, it might be covered. Let me, before I say what I was going to say, let me wait until see what some of these other slides have here. To make privacy matters even more difficult, courts constantly redefine what is private-based upon interpretations of the elusive legal standard of reasonable expectation of privacy. So the laws that protect the people that you take a picture of are very, very changeable and really aren't, well, this you can take and this you can't take. And from one of the websites, and the link is on the bottom there, to avoid invasion of privacy suits, these are some things to watch out for. The best hedge against invasion of privacy suits is knowledge of the law and the jurisdiction in which the photograph or videotape was shot and published or broadcast. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in the next couple of slides. Liability for invasion of privacy is rarely clear. So you're probably, in most cases, if you're in a public place, it's a public meeting, and you take a picture, most likely you're not going to have an invasion of privacy issue. Generally, what can be seen from the public view can be photographed without legal repercussions. So that protects us, so don't get too paranoid about it. Photographs taken in private places require consent. Now, my question is, what's private places? Is a conference considered a private place? It's in a conference hall, it's in a convention center. Is that public or is it a private place? I take a lot of pictures at my local fraternal organization, at various activities that we have. Is that considered public or is it considered private? You have to be a member even to get in the door. So these are some things that you want to be, you want to let people know when you take pictures. You know, I'm going to post these on Facebook. You know, do you have a problem with it? Or some of them may say, please don't post pictures of me. I did have one lady that asked me, said, I work for a bank and I don't want any pictures of me drinking, so please don't post them, and we didn't. In videos, use caution when utilizing file footage or photographs to illustrate negative stories. Don't take a picture and then use it as an example of something that might be a negative story. This isn't geared more towards for reporters, but don't take a picture of a group of people that you knew and you're writing an article about some illegal activity somewhere, and you just use it as a crowd scene, for instance. Then you're putting those people, even though they're not involved in the activity, because you're associating the picture with the activity, they could come back and come after you. Consent exceeded can be the same as no consent at all. So if you ask someone, can I come in your house and take a few, can I come into your house, and they say yes, and you start taking some pictures, you haven't been given permission to take the pictures, and so you've exceeded the consent, and so you don't have consent to take the pictures. And then I bolded this, although oral consent may protect you from liability for invasion of privacy, written consent limits the possibility of a lawsuit. So if you can get some kind of a written permission, if you're holding a conference or a meeting, you might want to publish somewheres that there may be photographs taken and may be published in conjunction with that event, and let people know, and by your, and somewhere's in there, say that by your attending, you're consenting. And so if they come back at you to say, well, when you got the ticket or you looked at the information about the event, it did say that we would be taking pictures. The information that I just got came from the Reporter's Recording Guide. There's the address for it. It's a PDF file. You can download it. And in there, let's see. Judy says, let's see, Ken says, verbal consent isn't worth the paper it's written on. Interesting. And Judy said, this is the statement we have in Southwest's registration form. By registering for this event, I hereby grant the Southwest Computer Conference permission to use my photograph in any and all publications, including the website, in perpetuity. Verbal consent absolutely is not worth anything, but Ken, Judy is saying that if it's written, it may not be worth anything either. And she said hers was written by an attorney. Let's take a look at just what I've got here on the. This is a chart of the various states. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and this happens to be what Florida has. Some of you are out of state, but you can look up yours, or maybe yours is on there. But these are some of the tape recording laws at a glance. Is the consent of all parties required in Florida? It is. So if you try to tape record somebody, just the audio portion, you're breaking the law, unless they are aware of it and consent to it. Are there criminal penalties? And the answer is yes in Florida. Does the statute allow for civil suits? Again, you're liable. Is there a specific hidden camera law? And in Florida there is. And are there additional penalties for disclosing or publishing information? And again, here in Florida there is, and in many states there are. And again, you can look at that chart and take a look. In the state of Florida, mystery shoppers use a hidden video camera and a hidden audio camera. In the state of Florida, wearing the video camera is not illegal. Wearing the audio or using the audio part is without their consent. And when video mystery shoppers go out to shop a particular business, the person they're shopping must have signed a consent form from their employers before their employers can hire the mystery shopping company to go in and record them. And so when they have written shops, the person who is doing the shopping cannot record it just to try to remember everything it said, because it is illegal for them to audio record. Now, why is it audio and not video? Well, because the laws were made before the video was possible for everyone to be able to do it. So in most cases, there aren't laws about it. There are some cases of some video voyeurism laws that have now come on the books. And so sometimes you may see something on, somebody's wearing their phone on their foot, and they're trying to take pictures and so on. They can get arrested because there are some laws now that do cover that sort of thing. Okay, I saw this picture and I thought, yeah, but there are better ways to hide your face, for people to hide their faces and information in photos and graphics. The other thing that came up in this last couple of weeks was somebody was working on a presentation. And in that presentation, in their PowerPoint, they were showing some information that I thought was very personal and probably shouldn't be shown. And I suggested that they, what the government calls redact, and that is to cover up something so you can't tell what the information is, but you can still see the information that you're doing. Here's an example, and then I'm going to go more into this, and I'm going to show you how to do it using two programs, one free and one not so free. Here is a blank tax form. Let's say you're doing a demonstration in front of a group and you're going to be talking about how to fill out your tax form, or you're using some tax software and you're illustrating how it gets filled out. Well, my advice is not to do it live with real data. If you can, use fake data if you're doing it live, so the real data doesn't show up. Sometimes that's not possible, or it's a lot of work. So then what I would say is use screen captures. So what I would do then is I would take the form and make a JPEG out of it, like I've done here, with some fake information and fake people. And we're going to see this up close, and we're going to actually work with this document in just a little bit. So don't worry about reading what it says, but you can see that there's information there. If your screen is real clear, you're probably able to read some of the information. Now you may say, well, when I show in front of my user group, it doesn't matter. You know, there's a few people, if they see some of my information, I'm not as concerned about it. But remember that more and more people now are carrying cameras on their phone. They're videotaping a session because they think it's going to be interesting. They want to play it when they get home. And a lot of times user groups and APCUG and now CFCS record presentations for other user groups and for other groups, and we put them out on YouTube. Well, anyone can stop the video and see what's on the screen and jot down the information. So let's take a look at what I did on this document to redact it, or to hide or make it so it's a little less evident of my information. I'm still showing the form. I'm still talking about the information, but you can't see the numbers. You can't see the Social Security number. You can't see the address, and so on. And you'll notice that I've done it in several ways. Some are grayed out, some are blacked out, some are pixelated. So there's a lot of different ways in which you can do that. And again, I'm going to demo that in just a few minutes. Also, a lot of us post on Facebook, and then they are presenting something, and they do a screen capture of a page on Facebook because they're talking about security of Facebook or something else, and all of a sudden, all that information, there's a picture of me, however, it's a caricature, but even if it was my photo, it would be there, my full name, and then down at the bottom where I'm located. Well, for this particular one, I'm not worried about it, but let's say I was, and I was presenting, what would I want to do? I want to pixelate my picture. I would want to hide my name. Down at the bottom where it says near Orlando, I went ahead and blocked that out. And I don't know if you'll notice, I'm going to back up real quick. Look at the presenter in this particular article. Look at her face here. And I pixelated it so small, so you can't recognize her in the picture. And she's the only one that's facing the camera, so she was the only one I had to do that with. So if you're going to present things from Facebook, protect the people who are friends of yours, who you're grabbing the picture, because there's information about them. Anyone can go to their Facebook page, type in that person's name, find that same person, get information about them. Not that somebody in your user group would do that, but if you're posting it on YouTube, or if someone wants to, they can use the information. There are some articles, and here are a few of them that I found. How to hide or blur faces in a photo, and using PowerPoint blur tricks is another article. I'll leave this on the screen just a few minutes for you to grab. And how to hide sensitive information and images using Adobe Photoshop. It's a video, so if you go and you look at that, and I'll try to post these somewheres, and if you need them, by all means, contact me, and I'll get you the links. But there's just some articles, and as I said, a video, and there's a lot of them out there. How to cover yourself and how to cover information up, so when you demonstrate, you're not giving away that information. Okay, I'm looking at my screen and I'm not seeing the next one here. Let's see if I can go back. Maybe you're not seeing it either. Are you seeing these? What happened to my screen here? I have another computer on it. I'm not seeing my slideshow. I'm having the same problem that... okay. Judy says she's seeing it. I'm not seeing it on mine. Just give me a second to refresh the screen, maybe. I just want to make sure everybody's seeing it and I can see it as well. Yep, okay. Anyway, some people don't want you to see what they're doing. This is an interesting piece of, I don't know what you would call it. She's actually working on her laptop and doesn't want anybody to watch what she's doing. So, but also no one can see what she's doing as well. So, Judy says she inserts shape in Word or PowerPoint to block sensitive words. Very good. There's a lot of ways you can do it, and I'm going to demonstrate a few of them. Some people just don't want you to take their photo, no less posting it on the internet. So they'll when they put their hands up in front of their face, gives you an idea that maybe you shouldn't take their picture or post it anywheres. And then this was something that this was about Facebook and pictures, and I just thought I'd grab that and add it to the item here. If you take pictures, and I didn't put this in one of the slides, and I don't know exactly where to put it, so I'll say it now. When you take pictures of things, be careful what you're taking and make sure you go in and hide them in some way. If you're taking a picture of your car or even somebody else's car, pixelate or in some way block out the license plate. If you're taking a picture of somebody in front of their house, and the number of the house is on there, block out the number of the house. Either color it or do something so that it's not showing to tell. I saw a picture of somebody on Facebook. They said, here we are on Main Street selling lemonade, and they were there with their kid in a lemonade stand in front of their house, and big as day is the house number on the house in the background. And you don't want to do that because you don't know who is going to see it. Or now you've told somebody, well, yeah, there's a little kid living in this house. Yeah, some people can find them, but the way things are these days, it's best if you don't leave yourself open. So make sure you kind of watch what's in the background of the pictures that you take as well. Now, I found these 4 things on the website. I've not used any of them except the first one because I just found it. I went in and I tried it. Photohide.com lets you do it online. It's very easy. So if you've got a photo, you upload the photo, you blur it right online, and then you download the blurred photo. And the service is free, very easy, very simple to do. If you're more into editing photos but you don't have a photo editor, lunapic.com is another free. It's a free online photo editor, but it does a lot of things, and it's a pain trying to figure out which way you're going to go in order just to pixelate a face or some information. So it's probably more work than you might want to do. But if you want to do some photo editing and do it free and online, that is another website to put in your toolbox. The last 2 are apps for the Android and for the iOS that you might want to try and see if they work for you. But so if you're taking pictures and you're on the road and you're just using your Android or your iOS, you might want to try those. Okay, it's demo time. Let's take a look. Let's do the Photoshop elements first, so I need to just give me a second to set it up. You should see the screen go gray. And let me slide it onto the screen. Let me full screen it so it fills up the box. And there we go. There's that photo of the 1040 EZ. Let me go ahead and make it a little bit bigger for you. And here. Yeah, that's okay. And let me move it up just a hair so you can see. So, this is Photoshop Elements 12. I think I worked with somebody with Photoshop Elements 8, I think, and it worked quite in the same way. It's not difficult, and probably most of the photo editing programs will work the same way. But what you want to do is select an area, and you use the selection box. And let's take the last name here, and you just draw a box around it. So that means whatever you do is going to be contained in that box. Then what you can do is you can either paint it, drop a color there, or if you want, you can go up to the top to the filter, and there's several you can use. You can pixelate it, and I always use the mosaic from the Pixelate. Are you seeing that? Yeah, you are. Good. And when I click it on that, it pixelates it. The one thing you can do is make the size of the pixels various sizes, so you can change that. And if you get it down too much, it won't be there. So you can do that, and you can say OK. Just as an example, I would do the same pretty much consistently, unless there was a reason why you wanted to blacken one out and pixelate another. But let's take another area here. The last name as well for the spouse. When this time what we're going to do is we're going to select, we're going to we're going to filter. And this time we're going to blur it, and I'm going to use the Gaussian blur. And again, you can adjust what you want it. There's what it's going to look like. See, do you see my mouse? Yeah, I guess you do. Good. And then I'm going to say OK, and that's now blurred. So that's a different way in which you can block it out. Another way would be like Judy suggested doing. What she does is just take a shape and do it. But let me take the Social Security number over here. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to color it with black. So I'm going to use the color black that's there. And I'll just drop it in with the what's called the bucket. And just drop it in there. And because not everything is, because there are some holes in some things, that may not be the right way to do it. So I might want to go back and do the paintbrush and paint over some of those areas as well. So I might have wanted to just do the paintbrush to begin with. Would be one way to do it. And then let's take one more just to show you. We'll take it here. And this one will move here. This one, what we'll do under filter, we're going to blur it. And we'll use a motion blur. Now that really doesn't do much, does it? Let's see if I can see if this works. That might work, and I'll say OK. And so it's a different way of doing it. So as you can see, there's a lot of different ways to do that. This is in Photoshop Elements. Very quickly, very easily, you can go in and just go through your document. Now let's take another program called Irfan View. Irfan View is a free program. I use it to look at my photos. It's free. Give it a second. Okay, the screen's there, and I got to slide it into the screen. We'll full screen it here. So I'll make it a little bit bigger. And okay, this is Irfan View. Now this is a family photo. Probably not a good idea to put kids' faces. I took some pictures of an event that happened to be at a daycare school. Well, I don't want to have any of the kids' pictures and not even ask somebody to be able to put their pictures on a website, but it was for an organization. We were donating something, or we were doing something for the kids, so we went and we took pictures of it. But we didn't want to take pictures. So this is one way in which you can do it. You can, in Irfan View, which is a free program, all you've got to do, whoops, what I click on here, I just made it go away. Let's see if it's still out there. It is. I stopped sharing it, so hang on just a second, folks. Okay, I'm just going to draw a box on this kid's face. Then in Irfan View, you can go to Options, it's Image, and go down to Effects. There are several effects there. I know it's hard to see, but there are, and if you've got Irfan View, you can do this yourself. But what I'm going to do is, instead of doing the effects, I'm going to do the effects browser. And you should be able to see this, I hope. And there are much of the same effects that you saw in the Adobe Photoshop Elements are here. And you get to see an example. Here's the picture of the area that I blocked. And here is the picture of what it's going to look like. So you can swirl it, you can twirl it, or you can, there's more here, so you can see all the things, but pixelize might be one of them. You can adjust how pixelated you want it. I'm going to say OK, and now I have a pixelized face. I'll do the same with this young fella here. I'll go up to Image, Effects, effects browser, or I can just pixelize it. And this young lady here, go to Image, Effects, and Pixelize. Now I can save it, and it's a picture of mom and dad, and the kids aren't showing in the picture. Now, there may be some, in Facebook, you may want to show your kids, and some people do and some don't. And if it's going to be for somebody's if you're going to do it for like a organization's website, you certainly don't want to put pictures of kids up there. So this is a way to around that. So let's go ahead and stop sharing, and now I'll be able to see the chat box again, and we're going to hide this because this will be all I'm going to do on that. Hide. And you should now see we did the 2 demos. If you have any comments, I wasn't able to see the chat box. I don't see anything in there. So let me go ahead and continue. I hope you're all still with me, and I hope you're finding this somewhat, if not a lot, interesting. Okay, I do want to say, and Judy Tallur is online. She is the chairman of this. I would like to mention that the equipment, or not the equipment, but the facility of the Adobe Connect is sponsored and given to us to use by APCUG. And this Saturday, the APCUG Virtual Technical Conference is going to be held. That we record all of the sessions for that. You can go back and look at previous years. There's a website on apcug2.org, or you can just go to apcug.org, find the VTC or the Virtual Technology Conference button, and you'll find more information and how to register and get online with it. And here's a schedule of what's going to be presented. As far as the photo SIG, one you might be interested in is quick and beautiful web pages that Jim Evans is going to be doing. I think you'll find interesting. Possibly there'll be some things covered in the iPad session by Greg West. And you'll be able to see Dave Gerber's presentation of about RoboForm, where he has pixelated some things on the screen that he was going to show you about his phone number and his email addresses and everything else will now be pixelated. And then don't forget the APCUG session where Judy's going to be talking about what you get for being a member of APCUG. And you have to be a user group to be a member, so as individuals you cannot be a member. Okay, let's continue. Let's switch gears a little bit. For those of you who don't do a lot of websites and aren't concerned about the privacy issue, I found photoforbeginners.com is a magazine, and they have some really good tutorials and articles. And I found this one interesting because there were some pretty good tips in there for even those, some of us that are more experienced than others, but just some either hints or reminders. This is for beginners, travel photography tips, and it's from a photographer, and these are some pictures from Steve Davey. And these are his tips. It was written by somebody else. And the first one on here says, talk with people for more engaging portraits. Now, so if you're traveling, don't just take pictures of people. Talk to them a little bit, engage them, and you'll get a much more personable photograph when you do take them. Take a lot of pictures. The thing about digital is you don't have to worry about how much it's going to cost to develop the film like we used to have to do. So take as many as you want. You can throw them away if they don't come out good, or you don't like them, or there may be pieces and parts of them, or there may be some things in the background that you didn't realize went on that might make a good picture. So a good idea to, but engage the people so you get some more expression. They'll look to the camera like they know you, instead of just being something distant. Another suggestion he had is use daylight white balance. Take pictures at dawn, at dusk, certain times of the day. Try to get that balance in there as well. Yes, I am recording, and it will be uploaded to YouTube. That's coming from the chat box for those. Okay, some other tips. Stop and think. The picture on the top left, the person was traveling in China, and they were trying to match the Chinese culture with modern day culture. So they've got this picture, and if you go to the website and you look at it, it's a Chinese Oriental type building with the background and the reflection of giant modern day skyscrapers. Excellent, excellent photo. Another suggestion he has, when you're out and about and you're taking pictures, get in close to take some pictures. You might not want to get too close in this. I believe it was tomato sauce that they were in, but it certainly gets you involved, and you can get a much clearer, better information when you're taking the picture. Shoot from up high. If you're in a building, look down and take pictures. If you're on a cruise, get up in one of the upper balconies and take pictures of people below or people on shore. From the higher levels, gives you some really neat and effective photos. Yeah, and Ken is saying close can be dangerous, so you might want to try a longer lens. But one of the things, Ken, that with a lot of us that don't have the kind of cameras that you have, the real expensive, with the high-end zoom, if you zoom on some of the point-and-shoot cameras, when you zoom in, it's not nearly as clear as if you're up close. So those are some things that you might want to think of as well. So if you're into that, you might want to think about a little bit better camera where you can put a zoom lens on it. And then the bottom picture, the bottom right picture, is get up early. Get out there, get outside and mingle with people that are up early in the morning. When you're traveling, you're more likely to see some things going on early in the morning. When the sun is first coming up, you can get some great sunrise pictures, especially if you're on the beach. Or you might get some kind of an event going on that's done early in the morning. So these are just some tips to take when you're traveling. Just think in terms of what you're taking pictures of. Don't just snap them. Try to get the best pictures that you can. Thank you. DOF is depth of field. Now, switching gears again, is you didn't know you could do these 5 awesome smartphone camera tricks. A lot of you have smartphones. You may or may not use the cameras. But there's some neat things that you can do with those cameras. And with the help of some really neat apps, you can do some interesting things. You can use it as a film scanner. You can do it as font or color identifier, or as an ultimate search tool. This came from a website called Make Use Of. We've talked about it at several of the meetings that I've attended. If you're not familiar, makeuseof.com. You want to go there, and you want to, if you subscribe to RSS feeds, whole different ball game, whole different session that doesn't involve photography. So I'm not going to talk about how to do that. But to keep up with things, you want to Make Use Of is a website that you really want to check out. They have some fantastic tutorials and guides and free books that you want to take a look at. Anyway, first, a film scanner. There's an Android and an iPhone. This is for Android and iPhones. If you're looking to digitize any old 35mm negatives, you can actually achieve pretty impressive results with your Android phone. You get an app called Helmet Film Scanner, and put it on your smartphone, and then your smartphone's camera becomes a bona fide film scanner. Simply place the negative over a well-lit surface, anything from your computer screen to a light box, and take a shot of the negative that you want to bring to the digital age. The app also has some basic editing features, So and then you can scan them directly to Flickr, Dropbox, IM, or Facebook. So those of you who still have some old negatives around, might be a way to make them into a picture and see if it's something that you want to keep, or if you want to digitize them and save for later, or if you want to share them on Facebook or in a Flickr album. The second item that they mention is color identifier. This again is iOS and Android. If you're looking for a quick way to identify colors, you can always use the camera on your iPhone or Android phone. There is an app called DuLux, D-U-L-U-X. They have an app available for both the Android and the iOS that allows you to take a photo with your phone and identify colors that within the photo using a color picker. And what's great is if you want to identify a color that's in an existing photo, because the cameras in phones really distort color. You can upload existing photos to the app, and that's particularly useful if you want to figure out the color used in a poster or an existing design. In the example that's on the right, somebody wanted, why they would, I have no idea, but wanted the yellow that's in the Ragu logo on a spaghetti jar. And so they were able, with the program, to get that same color yellow. I wonder why they didn't choose the tomato sauce color. And once you've got the photo loaded, you can then drag the color picker over the photo, which magnifies it, and you can see that over on the right-hand picture. At least I hope you can. Let's see, my mouse, there's an arrow there, and it's to the right of the arrow. You'll see the larger R for the Ragu. And that magnifies the spot where you can then pick the exact shade that you want. Then you can buy it and slap it on your walls. So let's go to the next one here. This again is for iOS and Android. Visual search tool. When it says we, that means makeuseof.com. They took a brief look at Google Goggles when it first hit the Android phone several years ago, but it's come a long way soon. And one of the things that you can do is simply point your phone at whatever object you want more info on, and if it's in Google's database, it'll show up in your search results. So you take a picture of something you want to know more about, and it's liable to be in their database. I've done that with a couple of items that I wasn't sure what it actually was, and it was able to identify a few of them. And it was amazing that there was one particular item I found in a drawer and said, I have no idea what this is. I took a picture of it, did the Google search with it, and would you believe that I found out where it came from. So it's neat. And in Google's own words, you can conduct searches by taking a photo of a painting, a famous landmark, barcode, or QR code, a product, or a popular image. Google Goggles also doubles as a QR code barcode scanner, an OCR scanner, a translator by taking photos of text in a foreign language, and a Sudoku puzzle solver. So have at it with Google Goggles and your phone or your tablet. And number 4 in this list is Creative Camera. iOS and Android. DBL or DoubleCam, which is free, serves a slightly different purpose to most of the other apps in this list. But you might want to have it, but it puts your iPhone camera in use in a unique way. DoubleCam allows you to take 2 photos in succession, one using the iPhone's back camera and one using the front camera. So in that way you can create what's called a diptych of yourself in whatever you're taking a photo of. So you get the photo of what you're taking and of you at the same time. So you can timestamp and keep track of what you were doing when you took the photo. Is it something you would use? Maybe, maybe not. But I think it's a neat use and a neat app to have. Once you take the photo with one camera, the second photo will be taken within a second. The closest Android users can get to DoubleCam is the free dual/double shot camera. according to Google Play, it reviews in its reviews, it's nowhere near as good as DoubleCam, but it's the best app in the functionality available at the present time. So, but if you have an iPhone or an iPad that's got 2 cameras on it, and they all, I think most of them do, what a neat thing. You can have both the picture of you and what you're taking of. And the final item in this list of 5 is the font identifier. Sometimes we want to match fonts and have, because we like a font that's on a web page or it's on some kind of a document or a newsletter. So what you do, if you haven't heard about it, it's called What the Font. But it's a service that now has an iOS app designed to identify and tag typefaces. Simply point your camera at any typeface and it should be able to identify the font, or at least suggest a similar alternative. And there's no Android version, but you can go to the website under at myfonts.com/whatthefont, and you can do it. You can take your photo and submit it on their website, and they'll figure out the font for you. So you can still use your smartphone camera, but it's not going to do it on the phone. You're going to have to upload it, and it will figure it out for you. So I think those are 5 interesting uses of the camera on your phone. Good. Thank you, Judy. And I'm glad I could feed you some information, and I hope the rest of you are taking note of these as well. Okay, just to kind of catch you up on what I might have said earlier, the digital photo SIG newsletter for February can be found at the address there. If somebody would copy and paste it, put it in the chat box, they'll have a link to it. If you want to register for the newsletter, the link is there. And again, please register so you'll get the newsletter. In the newsletters, I link all of the past, and once we get it up, this video will be in the next newsletter as well with a link. So make sure that you get that emailed to you. I'm using MailChimp, so it takes care of sending it to you automatically every month when I submit the information. So please take care of that. Mike says he finds that he uses his phone more than his camera, even with better specs on the camera. It's just, yeah, it's with you more. And then some of the phones have better cameras than some of us have purchased. So using the smartphone, having some other alternatives and what to do, and Photoshop also has a free iPhone app that you can do some editing and cropping and that sort of thing using the Photoshop app. Again, don't forget to register for the Eventbrite. At Eventbrite for our conference this Saturday. And thanks for attending. Before we close out, if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and type them in. Any comments before we close out? I'll be glad to take some. It's just about an hour. It only took me a day and a half to put the presentation together, but I hope you got something out of it. Multiple attendees are typing into the box, so that's good. Judy says they had a category for smartphones at Southwest's Digital Photo Contest last year. Thank you, Judy, for the kudos. Phil, thank you. And he finally got it working. Francis says, great session. We'll put a link to your presentation on the website of the Tucson Computer Society. Thank you. John, thank you. He said it was good stuff. Norm says, thanks. And Ken says, nice work, always interesting. And Mike says, thanks, Huey, a lot of work on top of what I know you were doing all week. Yeah, it's been a busy week. I guess that's it for the for everyone. I'll start the music up, fade out my sound, and then you can all start signing off. Thank you for attending.